Hi everyone, and welcome to ABG Investor Day. My name is Nikola Kilanowski, and I'm an equity research analyst here at ABG. With us today we have DistIT, CEO and CFO. So we will allow them 20 minutes for a presentation, and then we will follow up by a 5-minute Q&A. With that said, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Thank you. DistIT in short, DistIT's business concept is to acquire and develop niche distributors within mobility, within home electronics, networks, data, etc. And we have channel access within the Nordics and the Baltics in B2B and in B2C. We are distributing external brands and own brands. So our role is to be in the center. So we have a portfolio which is well positioned in the value chain. So we have suppliers on one side, and then we have our customers in the end, and we approach them through various channels and through our various operating companies who are putting together assortments suitable for their end customers, approached through the correct channels. And our role as a distributor is also dependent on the long-lasting knowledge of the channels and the customer relationships and IT system integrations we have with our customers. We have had a robust growth for many years within the group and through various challenging times, I add. So what is the summary of our strategy? What is our approach? It is the scalable growth dynamics, which will build our future, and that is growth from structural trends. There you have digitalization, electrification, 5G, gaming, electric cars, smart homes, smart cities, surveillance, and there are more coming as well. And it is also the gross margin expansion through the development of own brands and building specific direct-to-consumer or direct-to-user channels. Direct-to-user, I mean like B2B channels, direct-to-businesses. Also to build service revenues, which is especially relevant for e-fuel. But I can also mention that, well, we can go into that later. And also of importance is to build efficient base plates where we have completed restructuring, cost restructurings of Aurora del Taco. We have ongoing platform developments in all our entities. We have concluded one also within the Septon group of companies to have one unified IT and organization. And with acquisitions, we are looking for like markets, access to market, or access to niches and niche knowledges, either as add-ons or as new platforms, as a recent example of e-fuel which is a new platform. So the latest developments, well, as we all are aware of, that after COVID we have had war and energy crisis. And so what we have been facing during 2022 is starting the year with long COVID lead times. We have had an energy-driven price inflation. We have had weakening SEK to the US dollar. We have had, it has resulted in defensive customer behavior. So if we look at some market indicators, because there should be a tomorrow, we all believe. If we look at some market indicators that are improving, is the SEK has recovered some. We have an energy situation with Europe where the gas supply is managed without Russia, which is good news. We have also the important for European energy. Gas prices are still high, but they have come down from the record levels. We have oil and raw materials normalizing, and also Asian manufacturing costs are lowering. So I hand over to Thomas.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, so if we look at the latest numbers from our quarterly reports, we have July, September to the left and year-to-date numbers to the right. So focusing on the third quarter, we had a small growth from 610 million to 622. We have decreased gross margin. Mainly, the main reason is what Robert is commenting about, the exchange rate effect on our cost of goods. We have a higher cost because of the expensive dollar. And on the EBITDA level, down as well from last year. Also that depending on the FX effect. And also one-off cost related to our restructuring and move of inventory from to one central inventory. Yeah.
Yes. So if we look at what we mean, what we talk about structural trends, here we have some examples of structural trends. We have digitalization, we have gaming, we have smart home, we have electric car charging, and we have also home office. And we see that we mean with megatrends is a structural trend which will take place over time and is likely to have a higher growth than the general consumer or consumption markets. So we see it in these areas. We have launched both external brands but also our own brands. And you have examples of them here. And for example, in the smart home category, Del Taco Smart Home is managed through an app, Del Taco Smart Home app. And we have today, I think it is 280,000 plus users of Del Taco Smart Home downloads, which also has a very high rating on the Apple's App Store. And we also have here another example is our e-fuel business, which has a very, very high growth rate. And also Del Taco Gaming, who has achieved an amazing market position in Sweden especially. So 28.4% of our sales January-September was own brands goods. So despite challenges, we have progress within our group. Within Ardell, we have restructured in 2022 cost restructurings, which we announced earlier in the year, to secure efficiency and better machine for growth. We have had, for own brands, 48% growth in Q3 compared to Q3 2019. So in absolute terms, quite substantial. We have further growth opportunities in the markets within what we have access to in the Nordics, because we have a very strong penetration in Sweden, but not to the same level in Finland, Norway, and Denmark, as one example. And also we have development of new concepts and new offerings as well. We have also worked on an efficient base bit, which will enable us to implement continuous improvements to modernize the way the organizations are working more systematically. Septon is a well-positioned niche distributor who is attracting also new brands and offerings to distribute within their segment of professional audio, video, and lighting. We have started 2 years ago. We have an emerging own brand business with promising potential, which is like products which are tailored for like teams, rooms, offerings. And in Somnis we have a trading business which is transforming into a marketplace business. And Somnis will gradually become a center of excellence for the group for marketplace business, meaning like Amazon, to how to open seller's account on Amazon, how to monitor, how to drive business. It's very specific knowledge. So it's good. We find it could be good to have a center of excellence for that. So I hand over to Thomas.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, over to eFuel, our golden egg in the group. What can we expect from eFuel? Well, on the revenue side, we put a lot of focus into to keep growing because Sweden is our main market, but we have also identified other key markets where eFuel want to grow and see the ability to grow. On the margin side, I mean, we have a stable base with the EV distribution business that delivers nice margins to us. But to further accelerate the margin expansion, we also focus on software services and also developing own brands, which give us a better profitability. Looking at the quarterly result and revenue, eFuel delivered 200 million sales the first 3 quarters with a 6.2% EBIT. And just to mention the third quarter separately, the growth was 107%, and the profit was 8.7%, which give us great comfort into reaching the targets looking forward of a growth of 70 to 120%, and an EBIT margin of 9 is more likely than 7, so to say, because we are already trading on 8.7.
Yeah, so let me go into a bit further on what situation eFuel is in. eFuel is in one could say a roaring megatrend. We look at indicators like general indicators. The share of electric vehicles is growing very rapidly. It's around 65% of new cars sold are electrical, and it's growing. And people have been calculating that, yes, for every car we need 1 charger. But if we look at the leading market like Norway, it's up. They're counting 3 to 4 chargers per car. It's a matter of convenience. You want one in a summer house, one at work, etc. So if we look at market growth in Sweden, we see that e-fuel has been able to come into B2C channels, which is a bit tricky for electric car charging boxes, because the consumer is not happy with just a box; he needs it installed, right? But e-fuel works with like 2,000 installers in Sweden, and they have a partner portal how they handle all the interactions with the installers, which is they have strengthened through their tech team, and this can be used by retail chains. For example, Mekonomen. So they can sell to the customer, and e-fuel can deliver to the customer with the installation, right? And the thing is that that has been quite hard to achieve for the retailers. So we have a user-friendly offering. So we are adding on more retailers for this. So it is very good because they want to get into this business. So for us, it is on one. Yeah, we can just continue on the list here. Is that we also have growing market share in Finland with increased access and share through B2B partners in Finland, and we are also starting to sell in Denmark. So if we look at our current market share then with these installers, what I just described on the B2C side is also we give the installers business through the B2B sales. So it creates and builds the loyalty, which strengthen our market share or focus or cooperation with them. And also we have added on offerings of own brand accessories within their field, within e-fuels type of business. So if we look at the growth coming from products and services, for Wallbox, we have just started the cooperation with them, and we are selling their products in Sweden, but also we are expanding with them for Finland and Denmark. That's quite important for us because also Wallbox has some technological, very promising new products because they put a lot of R&D into the using the car, the electric car's battery to supply your house. So you can use it as an accumulator. So going in and out of your car. If you have solar panels on your house, you can charge a car. And in the night, you can also run your house out of your car. This is not yet released fully in Europe. Legislation is just around the corner. It is prevalent in the US because the grid needs to use also electric cars to balance the grid. So therefore they need this two-way stream with the cars. And if we look at another thing is recurring revenues. We have been working and developing a tech team within eFuel who is upgrading the software and releasing new versions of proprietary software services where we can enable customers to use smart charging to be able to get access to the best electricity prices for charging. And this will enable us to build up recurring service revenues for e-fuel. So let me mention just some words on some of DistIT's strategic pillars. So we want to focus our efforts within mega trends in niche categories. We want to develop our own brand portfolio. We are also looking for ways to develop services and also e-channels direct to consumers and users. And I would like to mention there is that we have quite a substantial such business for Deltaco on the B2B side, which we are upgrading. So we also have a strategic ESG focus, and we are developing a number of European distributors for our own brands. And also we need to allocate capital in a sensible way to develop these businesses. A few words on sustainable value creation. It is becoming a more from a nice to have to a very need to have. There is legislation around the corner, and a number of our customers are far ahead, and a number of them are not there yet. And legislation will be chasing the whole market. So we are talking a lot with our customers to drive this in the right way for us. And we see it offers us a market opportunity to develop products and offerings that they need. What do they really have? What do they really have a need for? What do they prioritize mostly? So we can, early on, we work with them to drive what is most important for them. And it also comes a lot with the increased traceability and control over product quality and certifications. And what is happening now, it is actually building a barrier of entry. It will. To the main customers, it will. Because this traceability demands quite a bit of your supply chain and also of your data processing of your ERP systems need to be adapted to this. So it offers also cost savings and reduced freight optimizations. And a few words on our M&A thoughts is to look for interesting players who are in interesting megatrends niches, or also opportunities to gain access to markets with our offerings. And that's geographical expansion. And the structure of it could be an add-on into, for example, Septon or into Ardell, or it could be like a new leg standing on its own, where we can still cooperate and integrate parts and bits and pieces. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for the presentation. We're almost out of time, so I think we'll just go with one question.
Yes.
And so recently the consumers, of course, been hit by higher inflation, higher interest rates, and so there's many macro factors that aren't really playing into the cards well for the consumer. Now, could you walk us through a little bit of your business? You know, which segments would you say are the least exposed to the consumer, the least exposed to, you know, inflation and higher interest rates and so on? And what is your near-term outlook for some of these businesses?
I would say that in the if you look now and ahead a bit, you can say that e-fuel is in a roaring megatrend, which is hard to comprehend, and it is like a revolution, and we will be revolutionized by that, the energy transformation and how we drive it. So I see very, very, very strong growth for the e-fuel business for coming years, which will give us opportunity to also develop scalability. That's one. We have also the Septon business, looking at the consequences through COVID, which were really punishing for hospitality kind of business, has shown a remarkable or surprising resilience, and has a kind of a element of robustness because it's a niche with the know-how, and these are so our outlook for that is kind of certain element of robustness. Same goes with the our B2B business has also shown a certain resilience. It is a B2C part of the business which is been mostly affected to the mentioned factors, I would say.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, guys, for coming, and thank you, everybody, for listening. It has been a pleasure. And with that said, we're out.